Hey folks, Sharby here. It's been a long time I've recorded a video. So today I think is a good time, to give you all an update. Market was in a kind of very small range for almost all of December, like 60, 70 points, and we were chopping and chopping. And the expectation today from my side was that, we'll have a rally on the upside, probably, somewhere 51.50, 51.40, somewhere around that range. And then the dip that we got today, my expectation was that it'll kind of start from there. Not that we are going to get a 3% of the day, that was like totally unexpected. But at least, we'll start some correction. That was my expectation from there. And eventually, getting a dip and then running back into, 6,200 or above during the last week of December or maybe first couple of weeks of January. So that's how I was thinking. But yeah, today after the rate cut, the drop that came, like I said, it was completely unexpected. Now I issued a post on Substack, which you all should be able to see. It's open to all. But I do wanted to cover some of the aspects in the video as well, just to kind of visualize thing for you, and so you know what I'm thinking at this point, and all the kind of stuff, right? So what you see here is the US 500 chart, and we have talked about this weekly divergence for a very long time. That someday it's gonna top, right? So whether it tops at 6,200 or 6,300, we'll finish this wave three somewhere, and then we are gonna go back into that wave four churn, which is probably can take 8 weeks, maybe 10 weeks or something like that, being an ABC or a flat or whatnot, right? The question is the wave four started? Or are we gonna get a center rally there? Right now, if you see, I mean, though the sell was certainly very aggressive, 3% is something that not something that you don't see usually. I don't remember seeing it in 2023. If that was, I don't even remember. Maybe in 2022 sometime. It's not usual, right? Now, looking at a smaller time frame here on the daily chart, if you see, I mean, on SPX, you would see that it landed right into where it should from the support perspective, which is where it has been bouncing since election, right? This was the election gap, came back, bounced back up again, and then came back here today, right? So now in the post I shared that, okay, we may chop a little bit if there will be a resistance tomorrow, let's say from some sort of a retracement here of 38%, like a wave four-ish thing. If this was wave one, two, three, probably you have like a little bit of a four with 59.22 or something like that. We can potentially measure this leg and say, okay, 5946, let's say 38%, right? So going up to that number and then dropping back again to just close this gap as well. That's absolutely fine, because if you see, what I've done here is that I've marked this election rally as the three completion, and the jump post that, since this is like a three wave move up, one of this is forming a B wave, right? So this is an expanded correction pattern that has formed after the sell, right? So now if this goes though it can just complete here, it doesn't have to go or do this. And in my recent memory, as it serves me, in 2024, anytime we have seen any kind of sell which ends at the low of the day, it does not go up and then make a new low. I don't remember seeing that, at least in the 2024. And that's how they have been closing, at the low of the day, and then just the rally starts, and then a small dip happens but never makes a new low, and then it just starts rallying, right? So that option is on the table, but I kept it that, okay, if let's say for Thursday and Friday is gonna be another sale day, something like that, we might chop a little bit up and then drop, right? So this area stays good for the bulls as long as they are here. And that's what I was showing in the US 500 as well, that this dip, it dipped a little bit more after the close, right? It tested 58 3 58 uh, I think it was 5830 or 5833, right? Which it tested, but SPX did not drop that low. But if you see, this was where the retracement of this whole election rally was, right? So both have just retraced back to where they dipped after the election rally, right? So it could be complete, and if I mark this parallel channel, it's kind of the bottom of the channel as well. So it can start just rising up from here. No more new lows needed. We potentially may just chop a little bit here. Like I said, 59.50 may come back to 5900 again, or maybe 58 something, and then this rally start, right? So this is what I'm looking at right now. It makes perfect sense for now what we have, right? So we have this small 1 2 here, wave 3 or 4, or you can have this 3 ABC as a 3 wave and 4, and then this fifth wave, right? And then an ABC and a fifth wave. So this is what makes sense to me for now, right? At least if I don't see another sell event tomorrow and we start cracking through these levels, right? 5830, or on SPX, I also shared that if we start dropping below this 5780 level, right? Sharply, even after doing this small up and move down, if you start cracking down below these and start getting into this particular level, then though again, I mean, you can always have an ending diagonal at the end, and your four can be deeper. But my uh, you know um, my perspective on that would be that it may not make a new high. It may be just a lower high coming back to, and it can go as high as 6,000, right? A bounce from here can go as high as 6,000, and you can call it as a center rally as well, right? So that can happen too. But like I said, my first preference is very simple. The ABC wave has ended up here, and it should just start making up this wave, the fifth wave here. And I try to explain it in, other ways where I see most of our Mag 7 stocks having one higher, you know, level to come as well. So, right, so I haven't given up on that. In fact, in my Discord, today I shared that I'm looking at dip at certain certain of these stocks like Amazon and Apple. In fact, I closed some of my Apple longs in the morning, right? The idea was that they were getting extended and it looked like the dip is coming. But again, there was no expectation of a 3% dip today and such a harsh sell off. But again, I mean, it was known that even if we go one level up high, we're just gonna pull back, right? So that was an expectation. That's why I was thinking that these Mag 7 stocks are gonna pull back to certain levels, and I shared that in my post today again. And now if you look into QQQ, I mean, story is no different here, right? Again, I said if this wave 4 has to take a little bit more time, where SPX does one more level up like 5950 and then drop into a lower level, QQQ can spend time in this channel and then go towards this fifth wave. Only if it starts breaking through this particular area of 503 and 500 below, then I would be worried that okay, the top is in, and then we are only gonna probably retest 11515, or maybe at the max go a little bit up into 524, and then just gonna go down. But I think we are a little far from that point to make that conclusion. I'll give just another day or two to see where what happens, what kind of structure that we form, and then conclude on it. But based on what I observed today and felt how this should go, that's what I have it in the post. Now, the part that you should remember is that now by this dip into 58. 60 on SPX, or a little lower on US 500, this has given a quite a bit of a space here to rally, right? So from here about 58.30 to, let's say, we go into even 6200, right? And let's say not even 6300, even 6200. So still we got like 300 points or more to cover in the next few weeks, right? So if this is going to be a Santa rally, that's a good 5% rally, right? Whether it ends in the first week of January or a little later, but this is still good 300 points to to capture. So I did initiate some SPXL long, today at around probably at this space 5880 or 5890, somewhere around this. I'll see how it goes tomorrow. If there is another dip, I'll just add into that. But that's what I'm trying to ride. I'm sorry, ride for the rest of the year. Yeah. So that's about from QQQ and the um, um, SPX perspective. But again, I mean, like I was saying, that if this is the last rally, you don't want to accumulate too many longs as well, right? So that's a key thing to know. Stay long. Don't have to go short right now until this completes, but try to just scalp it out, scale it out as you're in profit, right? So that would be the key. DIA and IWM, like I said, I'm not a big fan of how things are. I would let them settle. If there is a cup and handle coming on IWM, I let it build. I do not play heavily on the speculation that okay, it's gonna go up because rate cuts are coming, and that's not gonna happen. Lotus and all is fine, but not building a position on IWM because the count is a technical nightmare from my perspective. DIA, on the other hand, is still okay, not my favorite, but I think what we are doing is we are just completing this like wave three there too, right? And there are a lot of overlaps that has happened here in between after this rally that started from October 23. We kind of did quite a few overlaps here, but feels like that, either the top is in this one, like it could be a 3, 4, and a 5 here. I don't mind that really, right? So that's where I kind of said it in the post that it's possible that you may not get a full-fledged new high in there, but you might just be closer to 440 or something like that as a bounce, and then you start going down into this wave four, right? So how low you will go in wave 4, whether it'll be somewhere here in the 400 range or whether it'll take a next level into 382. We'll see about that, but I think that's where it is going as of now. Even if a new high comes, that's an opportunity to build some long-term shorts on that one, right? So that's about DIA. Now I did talk about some of the main stocks which we were tracking. So Apple, I've given few options in the previous post that it could be that we are making this ending diagonal here for a very for a high, and then we will see some sort of a dip coming in the Apple stock. So I feel that there might be just one more leg left here if you see in the short interval, right? So if this was wave one, right, wave two, and then we are just building this hole as a wave three. Now the dip started here somewhere in this demand. We'll see the wave four dip to come, and the 245 is kind of range where I said that okay, you have hit this demand, and then you are kind of making a wave five. 260 was my target. Probably get closer to that, and then we can say okay, probably this wave is getting over, and now we are looking at a retracement on this one, right? So this was one way of looking at it, and of course, I had a very bullish one, which kind of doesn't look possible at this point of time, since we do not have any index structure supporting that, right? So we'll go with this for now, make a new high, close all longs, and then see what happens after that, right? So that's Apple. Amazon, we already know it's in wave five, right? So Uh, so it was about to complete this wave three of five. Then the expectation is it was gonna go back to 188 or maybe yeah, potentially 188. That sounds like a good level of support from these all-time high breakouts, right? But before that, if this was my 1, 2, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so probably completion of a three here. May chop a little bit here in four and start up next journey to five. Just make a new minor high into 240. and then it starts kind of correcting back again, right? Whether it comes to 188 or 168, we'll see about that. But at least this is what I was looking at. Google had a recent breakout after their quantum computing news came out. And I started talking about longs here somewhere around 172. It's already done 200. But if this was one and two, now this could be a longer one, and my three could be shorter. But three cannot be the shortest, right? So if let's say three completed here for an argument, we might be just doing a four, and then there could be a fifth one. Then the fifth one will not be the longest wave, as the third cannot be the shortest, right? So then fifth may end somewhere around 210. So I do think one more high is there, as long as these levels are holding here around 186 to 190, right? So whether it's the third wave going, or it might do better than others, right? And we are just pushing higher here on three, and then four or five, something like that. But it does has one at least level going higher for sure, right? So that's what I would be looking at. Google, Meta. There are many ways to look at Meta, right? So you could have this as one, two, three, four, five, and Meta is done. But I would do want to give an opportunity here that if this is my one, two, and three done, my four will complete certainly somewhere here in this section, and I do will have one more high coming in this one to just complete this overall structure here for the five waves, right? Now, it's a interesting thing that this five is completing as a leading diagonal. Now, if you see what's going on, I mean, this is a wave which started back in October of 2022 from $89, and we are somewhere around $600 and above, right? What if this whole wave is complete? Is the dip gonna be a small dip, or are we starting a big correction here where this thing can lead into 285 as well, right? Some interesting times ahead if that is going to happen. So we'll get to that when the time is right, when we start looking into the deeper corrections and what sort of correction it is. If I go back to SPX, just since we are at this point, just to talk through it, right? If what if this whole thing is coming to completion? What if this was the last wave? Though I don't think that is. We'll get to that as it's building, right? I do think that if the correction comes, it will be probably limited to 5400, or somewhere around in this region, and then there will be one more level up bouncing off from these support levels, right? At least that's what I'm thinking. But some stocks may be further ahead of the index, or some stocks may take over, while some of the tech stocks are correcting, right? So a lot of interesting times I see coming in 2025. It's not gonna be a very easy bull run as you had in from October of 2023. So that's gonna be quite a journey that we'll go through together. And let's see. Let's first finalize what happens here in a day or so, and let's see if we get that Santa rally into 6200 knot, and then we'll start talking about the corrections, right? There'll be a lot of things which will come from there. Now, we were talking about Meta and talking about MSFT. Now, MSFT has lagged a lot, right? Where you have seen other stocks making new highs. Actually, most of them, MSFT has done nothing of that sort. So I'm thinking that if the top is gonna come at 6200 or close, probably what it's doing is just some sort of a complex wave here. It's just an ABC, and if this is an ABC, we may have just one more bounce here from these levels from where it broke out. So just to do a double top, and then after that it starts coming back. I mean, 365, 370, 361, 375 was my target from long ago. Maybe it'll be very hard to see it going up with where we are on the indexes, and if you're thinking that 6200 is gonna be like the top, right? So that's something to keep in mind. Nvidia is an interesting one, right? So we have been talking about just one more high since quite a while, and yesterday we had that nice 127 bump, and from 127 it rallied quite nicely. It was making really nice five waves to to build up that pattern for the last wave. If you see, we had like one, two, three, four, five, and when it started dropping, I was expecting the drop to be limited to somewhere in this range, about 130 or so. But I went and made a new low, right? But it happens. Like I said, I mean, 3% sell-offs is not everyday thing, so I have to kind of give it that benefit of doubt. And if you see, a lot of divergence got created within these two moves between this low yesterday and the low today. So I'm still bullish on Nvidia. I wouldn't give up on my last leg on this to do this fifth wave. And we'll see what happens after that, right? So so we'll continue to track this, wedge which it's building, and we'll see once it does 155, 160 range. I think that's where it will, mark some sort of a top. And some time ago, I did share this weekly chart as well, that there is a lot of divergence coming up, so it's going to have a very hard time in making any significant rallies up, and that's what has been happening. It's just making overlapping moves and chopping and chopping. So it can chop and move and make a new high, but then again, I mean, that's quite close to the top. And like Meta, this has some significant problem as well, because when you start looking at what's happening here, you're gonna say, okay, probably this was my wave one and two, this was my three and four, and this is my marking of five. That's kind of one way of looking into it. But whichever way you look into, like one, two, three, four, and now we are just doing a five of five or something like that, we are still marking a significant top, right? So if this is a significant top, where it's gonna come back, right? So that's something for a later point of time. Is it like a 1-2 state, or this is like a top, and we have some major corrections coming in the indexes in the next year or starting next year? Again, I mean, not gonna go into that right now, but it's time to kind of start looking into what is coming immediately, which is, let's see if we get a new high, scale out, and start looking into those corrections coming into in the January. That's what it looks like right now. I don't want to kind of go beyond next 2-3 weeks, because those are very important, right? And based on what happens, I'll keep updating you guys on where we think the market is going. Tesla had a fantastic run, made a new high. I'm not saying that, okay, this may be a final high of, like, after one, two, you had this long 3 year consolidation of wave four, and then now you just kind of finished, and this five is finished. I don't think so. I would say that in my um, thought would be that, okay, probably the wave one of five will finish, and once this is done, wherever it ends, whether it bounces from here, make a new high into 500 above, 500 plus, 530, 540, something like that, it's gonna retrace. It's gonna retrace heavily back into this range of 311, or maybe 272 or something like that, and then we'll talk about making further waves up, in the years later on, right? So that would be something which I would be looking at from Tesla perspective. But yeah, when getting close to its exhaustion point, looking at the shorter time frame, I would say that we are almost into the wave three closure. Whether this is now the three maybe in, or maybe if it makes a slightly higher high tomorrow, then the wave four may start, right? So we will have some correction here. I think 403, which was the previous high, or this area will be kind of a good spot for this wave four to kind of conclude. and then kind of give a last leg here for a wave 5, build a nice divergence here into that, and then start getting the correction back into 309s or a little bit below here into 273 or something like that, right? So that's something which I would be looking at for Tesla. And if you think we missed Tesla around this time, you'll get to catch that later on, right? That was a little longer video than I thought, but hopefully it helps. And you have my Substack post to correlate these things to. And as things move, I'll keep updating you. And good luck out there. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Bye bye.